Welcome to another One Stop Wrestling podcast. As always, I am Craig, and this week I am joined by Alex and Rohit. And my God, do we have so much to talk about as we delve into the ongoing drama from CM Punk and All Elite Wrestling. Alex, where do you want to start with this? Uh, Saturday night, we get a very entertaining episode of Collision. Come Monday, we start to see stories coming out of about CM Punk again.
Yeah, just drama, isn't it? Where shall we start? Should we start with there was the Jungle Boy incident, wasn't there?
Now, the Jungle Boy incident uh, was broken by Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful Select. It happened about 6 weeks ago during the Canadian tapings. Uh, Apparently, there was a backstage incident where Jungle Boy wanted to do a stunt using real glass, was confronted by CM Punk, who told him, "We don't do this on Saturday nights. Maybe you should go back to Dynamite on a Wednesday." Uh,
Yeah,
I'm going to side with Punk on this. Uh,
I'm shocked.
well,
Um,
I mean, like, why are you going to use real glass? Anyway, I mean that's a stupid idea. Rohit, what's your thought on Jungle Boy wanting to use real glass?
I mean, it's a bit of an odd one since he's not like a hardcore deathmatch wrestler normally, so bit of a weird take. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. But at the same time, if that's not the direction you're gonna go, then I suppose it's okay that that's not the direction you're gonna go, and that's tough luck.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, I'm going to shock both of you probably here. Uh, if CM Punk wants to protect Collision, I
Right.
agree with him. Because Collision, for me, is currently the best weekly wrestling TV show. And if CM Punk is trying to protect that, I am all for it. But we can't have this drama continuing. Now, there's more coming from the brawlout, if you want to call it that. Now, apparently, Hangman Adam Page turned up to the arena to shoot some promo work for Dynamite this week, was sent away to a different location. The stories began to roll out that Punk had him kicked out. Maybe that didn't quite happen now, but would any of you even have had Hangman turn up to Collision to shoot promo work for Dynamite 4 days later?
no, I don't. I mean, it's only going to cause issues, isn't it? I think Punk's standing is, well, they don't let me in on Wednesdays, so why the hell should I let any of them in on Saturdays? I think that's the sort of stance he's taken with it all. Um, so I understand why he wanted Hangman to go. Obviously, it's an awkward thing to happen, especially when it gets leaked to the press and the public. But I understand why he's done it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not too surprised that Hangman actually went or was going to go there because at the end of the day he's part of the company, and if the boss tells him to do something, he's 9 times out of 10 gonna listen. And from what I've heard or seen, it's like he's kept very quiet. It's like every time something happens to Punk or this incident, it's always reported, Punk does this or Punk has been involved, but never like Hangman said Punk is this or Hangman has done this or Punk has done that. It always starts with Punk, so it's a bit strange.
I don't think Punk did himself or the company any favors by having a promo shooting on Hangman Page after Collision stopped airing. I mean, like, someone stop him. Someone not allow him to do this because it's just adding to the negativity surrounding everything from the past 12 months in AEW.
Yeah, I think he's got to a stage where he's kind of just like, fuck this. And he knows in his own head that he is pretty indispensable, especially to Collision. Like you cannot really have Collision without Punk. And I think he knows that. I think he also knows that Warner Brothers Discovery, basically have to say, Punk needs to be there. He knows he's drawing the biggest ratings. He knows he's getting the hottest reactions. So he's almost in a stage of like, screw this. I'm just going to do what I want.
Now, Dave Meltzer has reported that essentially Tony Khan will allow CM Punk to do whatever he wants on Collision because Tony sees Punk as the main draw for All Elite Wrestling and the man who is going to bring in viewership to that show and future pay-per-view buys. But this isn't working for me. I've always been a believer that wrestlers should stay away from these kind of backstage moments in wrestling. I mean, we all know that Kevin Nash booking in WCW did not work. And is Tony Khan making that same mistake by giving Punk too much freedom? Rohit, what do you say?
It certainly looks that way, that it's heading down that road, really, isn't it? Because, like, of certain backstage politics and antics, and him not getting along with certain people, him not wanting certain people to be there and involved. Certainly does seem that way. But, like, at the moment in time, the product is doing well. So clearly, whatever he's doing is working. Yes, it's not pulling as big as the ratings at the moment, perhaps as Dynamite is, but it's a new show. People still getting used to it. Watching something on Saturday night, plus it is a Saturday night. People do go out on the weekend, believe it or not. So there's other factors, but in terms of like wrestlers having power and like backstage or control of a show, it's not really great. And again, like you said, you've seen how WCW turned out. You've seen how TNA was when Jeff Jarrett constantly booked himself as the main star, which worked for a little bit, but then, yeah, it kind of didn't work out really in the long term. So we just have to see how it goes. But I do agree it's a bit of a red flag.
Yes, I can't agree more. Alex, what do you want to say on this topic?
Well, I'm going to be completely blunt and honest here. All of this is Tony Khan's fault. All of it. He is the owner. He is the manager. He is their boss, and he is letting these guys do whatever they want. And it's not just Punk; it is the Elite as well. Because as we know, they book their own stuff too, and people like Jericho and Mox, they are allowed to do their own thing. And there's no management. Punk can come out and cut these promos and do these things, which makes the company look bad. But he knows he can get away with it because he knows his boss isn't ruling with an iron fist. Now, there's absolutely no chance in hell, pun intended, that Vince McMahon would ever let any of this shit happen back in the day. Absolutely no chance. If you cannot get along, if you cannot cooperate with each other, if you cannot go out there and make me some money, if you're going to go on your own and do what you want, then basically get the hell out, you're fired. That's what it would have been like. But Tony is mismanaging this situation completely. He needs to put his foot down. He needs to tell Punk and the Elite, sit down right now, have a chat, work it out, go make some money. If you can't do that, basically piss off.
Now, we are also hearing reports of certain people within the company who have come out and said that the night that CM Punk returned to AEW on Collision, Tony was in gorilla, fist pumping the air, chanting CM Punk, What kind of message is that sending to the rest of the locker room? What kind of message is that sending to Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Hangman Adam Page, when you have all this friction that's been going on for 12 months and your boss is sitting marking out in the back because at the end of the day, he's a fan. He's being more of a fan currently than the boss of a multi-million-dollar company trying to put on the best product for the fans.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah.
We should have come out of Saturday discussing how much we want to see Samoa Joe, CM Punk in front of 80,000 fans. Now let that sink in. We never thought we would see Punk or Joe ever get in a ring again after their original Ring of Honor trilogy. But we're getting to see it in front of 80,000 fans. We should all be hyped. We should be talking about this. But we're not. Unfortunately, we're having to discuss this. And that just makes me sad as a fan. I don't know about you guys, but like, I want to be invested in All In. I just can't be. Rohit, what's your excitement for All In currently?
Honestly, it's quite low just because of the fact that obviously knowing like what I like in terms of wrestling, I'm very into the Japanese wrestling scene. I was hoping, obviously, when I heard murmurings of Will Ospreay being part of the card, I was thinking, oh, surely either Omega 3, but maybe that's a bit too soon. So I was like, okay, who could they put him up against? And I immediately thought Pac has to be the guy. But not only is Pac seemingly not on this card at all, as far as I'm aware, it,
Pac
it
is
was
currently injured, so Pac
okay.
isn't
That
actually
makes
going to be
sense.
back for.
Hmm.
I currently think 2 to 3 months. He's
Right.
currently out.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. I don't know if that was ever a plan, knowing AEW how it seems like they don't have much of a long term plan in the first place. So, but giving him Chris Jericho, and I like Chris Jericho, and it could be a good match, but it doesn't make any sense. Like, I would have rather
No,
than have the history of the US title saying, oh, like, because if you're not aware, Will Ospreay has christened the IWGP US
is
Championship
the
the
United
IWGP
Kingdom Championship.
UK Championship. And Moxley could be like, "Yo, you being a bit of a punk, you think you can just change that? You can change the red, white, and blue stars and stripes, whatever, to the Union Jack Iron having it." And there's a bit of a history and story there that can be made. But Jericho Ospreay, I feel like that could have happened another time. That could have happened at the Tokyo Dome since Ospreay isn't in the.
Yes.
I don't know. So in terms of that, like, and certain other things on the card, I'm like, it's like lukewarm. Like there's no hype, no story, lack of a build. Even like the promoting of the event feels a little bit like, yeah, we've sold the ticket. 80,000 stadium, and that's all they're saying. It's 80,000 in a stadium in the UK, but they're not promoting the matches, not promoting the wrestlers, not promoting the card. So it feels like, oh yeah, it's a big wrestling show. It's a historic moment, and
It's billed as the greatest show in
yeah,
wrestling history.
exactly. But
Uh,
they're not promoting the wrestling. It's
You know,
just the show.
they would have done better to not
Mhm.
announce any matches than doing what they've done, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They've like Dynamite last night, like it was kind of rinse and repeat. It was like, right, Brawl, I want you at All In. Brawl, I want you at All In. I'll see you at All In. And it was this, and it was just like, where's the originality? Where's the story behind it?
Exactly, and that's what I like about the New Japan New Year's Dash, which is usually the equivalent of Raw after Mania, after Wrestle Kingdom.
you just get the
And
most random shit happening on that show every single year.
yeah, Think about the surprise Omega in the main event teaming with Okada against the two United Empire. Well, I think it was Jeff Cobb and was it? I think Great O'Khan, wasn't it? I
I think
can't
it was
remember.
Great O'Khan.
I think it was Great O'Khan. Yeah, it's just random stuff happening, and it makes you excited thinking, what are the start of the new rivalries? What seeds are they going to plant for like the new beginning tours and things like that to come? And I feel like it's very interesting. So they could have done that and be like have like a massive surprise card, but
But again, does this go
Mhm.
back to wrestlers booking themselves in situations that favor themselves, like we mentioned, because they have
Mhm.
that power? Chris Jericho knows Will Ospreay is probably going to be one of the hottest acts at All In, and he's thinking, right, I could benefit off that. I'm going to put myself across him. The Young Bucks at the moment, they're cold to me. They're not hot. They haven't done anything of note in the past 6 months. I know the BCC and Elite feud was cold,
Mhm.
and they're suddenly challenging for the tag titles at All in a dream match. You know, are they just right? This is putting themselves in that situation. Right, this is a dream match. We're going to tear the house down. Let's do it. When really, if you think about the bigger picture, they're cold and they shouldn't
Yeah.
really be there.
No, and I think it certainly has a part of it that like wrestlers are booking themselves into like certain spots and position. And with the Chris Jericho Will Ospreay example, like I get it from Jericho's point of view, but also get it from AEW's point of view, saying like, okay, we've got Ospreay, who is there that we can put up against that makes it feel big, and certainly from like the U like a showcase. Jericho Ospreay is big, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Thinking who else could they put up there since Park is injured? Yes, I did use example Moxie, and I would have been more than happy with that. But
Osprey Omega just
yeah, you could have. But I feel like people thinking that's too soon, and maybe New Japan side want to save that maybe for Wrestle Kingdom.
Now, let
For
me
next
both
time,
ask
maybe.
you a question.
Okay, yeah.
What main events?
Cole.
MJF versus Adam Cole for the
Hmm.
AEW World Championship, or CM Punk versus Samoa Joe for the real World Championship?
Cole MJF main events for me.
I
Does
think it
Punk
has
have the
to.
pull though? If
Will
Punk is
he
going
do
to
that?
Wembley Arena in front of 80,000 fans, isn't he going to want to headline?
I think by the looks of it and sounds of it, and given Tony Khan marking out, I feel like Punk versus Joe could be the actual main event potentially. And Samoa Joe is hugely popular in the UK, and like remember years when he came to UK versus AJ Styles, for example, that was super popular in the UK. So I'm like, wouldn't be surprised if that made events. But what message would that say that like? Oh, he's the real world champion, whereas the actual official world champion is not the main event.
I
Unless they're doing that for storyline purposes as well.
I don't
But
think Punk
I
is
don't
that
have enough
bad.
faith. Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
think
have
he.
enough faith.
I don't think he's that bad that he'd do that. And
Yeah,
for all we know, he gets on with MJF and probably wouldn't want to cut the rug
hmm
from underneath him.
I'm sure. Yeah, that could be the case. Yeah, 100%.
But doesn't it make sense to put Punk and Joe as the main event? Because we always have to say that AEW book to an internet audience.
Hmm.
It is what it is. But if you want to sell this as the biggest show in wrestling history, you have to put your top man in the main event. And correct me if I'm wrong, CM Punk is a bigger star than MJF and Adam Cole.
Craig, CM Punk is the biggest star
Yeah,
by a mile in AEW.
So
agreed.
why wouldn't Punk and Joe main event?
I guess it's the story. MJF and Cole have a hotter story, and it is like Rohit said, it is the official world championship.
Mm. Yeah, I would agree with that. That's what I would like to think would happen, but at the same time, now that the way you have mentioned it, I wouldn't be surprised, and I think that's also why, again, going back to it, we're getting Jericho Omega. I mean, sorry, Jericho and Osprey, because it's like big stars meant to be in this big show, so it makes sense for Punk versus Joe to main event. But it's an interesting point to be fair, but yeah, it's
It's
very.
like, so WrestleMania 3
Mhm.
is the biggest attendance in WrestleMania history.
Right.
You wouldn't have had Hogan and Andre not be the main event if you had a more story driven angle going on the war card. You'd always have Hogan
Oh,
and
right.
Andre going because Hogan was a draw. Hogan was the man that people wanted to see. And I just feel that a lot of people going to Wembley, even though he wasn't announced at the time, are going to see CM Punk.
You
And
Right.
I think the way things are going in AEW, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying I'm not going to be shocked in the slightest if Punk main events that. And I think that will send the wrong vibes
Right.
to an already unsettled locker room within the company.
I think you got to factor in then, like how big Samoa Joe is as a star. Would he be above Cole and
He's above Cole.
MJF?
Uh,
Hmm.
he's
Yeah,
definitely above
Adam
Adam
Cole.
Cole. No disrespect, I'm a big fan of
Of
Adam
course,
Cole.
no, I agreed. I'm saying,
Uh,
he's
Bigger
not a
star
bigger
than
star than
MJF
MJF.
maybe 15 years ago.
right, yeah, because I think that would factor in. Because if you look at it as a pair, since a wrestling match is technically you need a dance partner, if Punk is the biggest star and you have, let's say, Joe is the third biggest and then MGF is the second biggest, and maybe Cole is fourth or fifth at the moment. So you have like first and third biggest stars versus a match that's like second and the. Would you put the match that has your first best and third biggest stars i- in the main event compared to having the match where you have like the biggest star? You understand what I'm trying to say? So in that
No, no,
case, yeah. In that case, I think Punk would be the main event.
no, my wild prediction for the show, and it's just my personal wild prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cole and MGF open the show.
Wow.
That
I
could make
think,
sense.
I think on the pre-show, Adam Cole will screw MGF against Aussie Open. They won't win the tag team titles.
Mm-hmm.
They won't leave the ring, and a heel Adam Cole will beat MGF.
That is a very wild prediction because I think
Right.
the heel turn from Cole is such a big moment to happen. If it does happen, I think you've got to do that in the main event or whenever they go on in the singles match because that's going to be a huge moment and he's going to get so much heat for it. I feel like you can't throw that one away on a
Start hot.
pre-show.
Start the show as hot as you can. Get that crowd up out of their seats. And the best way to do that is have Adam Cole squash MGF because no one would predict it.
I mean,
Uh,
you're right.
Right.
That would be
It would
like
be a shocker, wouldn't it?
Goldberg destroying Lesnar, wouldn't it? All those years ago in
Yeah.
2016.
have
Yeah.
him have him beat the crap out of MGF after that tag match with Aussie Open. Absolutely batter him and start that match as soon as that pay-per-view starts. And then yes, you can have CM Punk, your biggest star in the company, headline at
You
Wembley.
you're kind of selling it to me now. I quite like the sound of that idea.
So that would probably mean that, well, actually, could be the six-man tag, but I would assume then potentially Jericho Osprey could be like the second to last match potentially then.
Yes.
But I don't know. It could be like the six-man tag with, is it Hangman, Bushi, and Omega versus the Bullet Club and Konosuke Takeshita. That could also be the second to last matches.
I
Interesting
think
the position of the cards, really. Yeah.
I think the Fatal 4-Way women's match is going to be quite high because I am convinced that
Right.
it'd make no point if Saraya doesn't win the World Championship in the
Yeah.
UK in front of 80,000 fans because that would be such an iconic moment for
They
AEW.
got to do it. Yeah, I think so.
Now, this card looks flat, but there's a lot of potential for making moments if you do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to find out until a week this Sunday, but it's going to be very interesting with the drama going on in the company. What's going to happen at the show? What's going to happen with CM Punk? Are we going to see any more incidents happening with Punk and the Elite? Who knows?
Is this the first time they'll all sort of be together on the same card since he's been back?
I'm going to say yes. Now, Punk did make an
so.
appearance on Dynamite, but as far as I'm aware, the Elite weren't in the locker room.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking of as well. I wasn't too sure they were there or not.
And if you think, like, obviously we've heard everything in this last week. You know, there's been stuff come out that Matt Hardy and Christopher Daniels are banned from Collision because of their association with the Elite. Obviously, the Jack Perry stuff. There was the
Ryan Nemeth incident. Ryan Nemeth was sent away for
allegedly
not saying hello to CM Punk
because he tweeted him saying he was soft or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Is it? Are we going to see, you know, more negativity come out after the show? Are we going to be talking about the show, or are we going to be talking about something else that has happened backstage?
Now, personally, in 2 weeks' time, I want the four of us will be joined by Alfonso.
Right.
I want to be talking about this show in a positive manner. I want to have enjoyed the show. I want to be looking forward to All Out.
Hopefully.
Who knows what we're going to get?
Yeah, I think, you know, everything that's happened over this past few weeks, it doesn't look promising, does it? It's not just Punk and the Elite and all that stuff, is there? There was a lot of stuff on the women's side of it with all the tweets going on back and forth between, I think Lufisto was her name. She came out and said a load of stuff, and then Britt Baker and Ruby Soho and all the mainstays defended. And it just screams mismanagement from Tony Khan. He needs to get a grip on his superstars and say, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah.
My fiance is convinced CM Punk is the issue. Obviously, me being a Punk fan, that causes a bit of friction. But
she's a smart girl.
She
I mean,
she says that trouble follows him wherever he's gone. Going back to WWE, you know, all the way back in 2010, 2011, when, you know, things were a bit rough backstage, where he didn't get on with Triple H and he had issues with Vince. And yeah, she seems to think that trouble follows him wherever he goes. Now, I think it's all Tony Khan's fault, personally, but yeah.
No,
I think there's a role he does play in the trouble, but even then, like, he can't be blamed for like the issues in the women's division, for example. That's not part of his fault. So I don't think he's the sole reason for all of AEW's troubles and woes, really. So
it's more like, you know, how is this all allowed to be
exactly,
broadcast on Twitter in front of everybody? It just makes them look bad as a company.
Exactly, unless they got some sort of like endorsement from Elon Musk to do that.
Yeah.
But other than that, it makes no sense.
But like I said, you know, Tony Khan, just, you know, put your boss head on, get rid of the friend, the, you know, the fan, put on your boss shoes and say, you sit down, talk about it, sort it out. If you can't sort it out, then sod off. He needs to just do that.
he needs to delegate some stuff to like the management side, because like if they're allowed to do this kind of thing, tweets on social media without punishment or any drawback, then what is the point? Like, I could just be like, during any sort of match, if I'm not happy, just run out to the ring and be like, yeah, I'm not gonna get punished for it. Or worse, I just miss a week of taping or something. I don't know.
What do you think, Craig? Do you think this is Khan, Punk, the Elite?
I think this is a combination of everything. It's a very ill-run company that needs a strong PR team.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
before we wrap up, let me ask you both one final question. With everything going on backstage with CM Punk, does the current drama surrounding him, is it beginning to define his legacy in professional wrestling rather than us talking about a world championship reign that was only been second to Roman's in the last 20 years, facing The Undertaker at WrestleMania? Is that part of his legacy gone and now overshadowed by the drama in AEW?
I think it's going that way. Sadly to say, because obviously Punk is my guy, my favorite superstar. I think it is going that way. I think he still has a little bit of time to turn that around. He's doing a great job on Collision, as we mentioned earlier. It is the best weekly show on TV. He still has time. If he can get away from it all and get his head down and just wrestle and tell good stories and go back to doing what he was great at, then yes, his legacy could be defined by, CM Punk, the great superstar who has great matches, etc., etc. But for now, it is sadly going to the negative direction.
Rohit?
Yep, I agree with pretty much everything Alex said, and it doesn't help that like the WWE is kind of like trying to overshadow his accomplishments there. Of course, you're not going to sing the praises of someone that's on a rival promotion show, but like the fact that now Roman Reigns has overtaken his reign in the modern era, that's like CM Punk is like not mentioned at all, like even like in like background noise or anything really. I feel like they like not for like having his WWE time being like as open as some of other past legends or other past wrestlers that have been part of the WWE company. So I do feel like that doesn't help. So and then everything with CM Punk, just like all this negativity, all this bad news and drama, really, like that's the main focus at the moment. It doesn't help, and like Alex said, it's certainly heading that way. But I do think he could potentially turn a corner and salvage something. But whether or not that happens, it's a lot of ifs and buts, and there's no way really knowing at this point.
I hate to be a smart ass, but I'm pretty sure Brock Lesnar beat Punk's reign in 2017.
Fair enough.
500
I'm going to have to double check that. I can't remember that off the top of my head. But
I mean, if you count days off, probably you're right.
yeah. But to conclude, it's almost like my man, the King of Kings, the Cerebral Assassin, Triple H, the what he said about the mighty CM Punk back in 2012, they're kind of coming true. But for everyone who joined in, who listened to the end, thank you so much. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll be back next week with Alfonso in attendance. All four of us will be giving you our match predictions for AEW All In, and we will be giving your votes that you can vote for on our social media pages at One Stop Wrestling. And we'll catch everybody next week. Guys, have a safe week. Thank you so much again.
Pleasure.
You too.
Thanks,
Pleasure.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Take care.